We have just witnessed one of the most intense clashes to take place recently in Parliament during the traditional Prime Minister's questions. On this occasion, however, it wasn't Keir Starmer leading the government benches. His absence, due to his participation in the G7 summit, left Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner in charge of the debate. From the opposition benches, the Shadow Home Secretary launched a direct and forceful offensive against Rayner, tackling highly sensitive issues, from Labour's U-turn on grooming gangs to its handling of immigration and the party's failure to control the flow of illegal migration. The exchange was particularly heated, with references to migrants being housed in hotels, and there's no doubt that this could go down as one of the most confrontational sessions of the year. We'll now review the key moments. But before we do, don't forget to support this content by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more updates on UK politics. During his speech, the Shadow Home Secretary, Chris, began by expressing solidarity over the tragic air crash in India and echoed the Deputy Prime Minister's words in tribute to MPs Joe Cox and Sir David Ms. He also supported her call for de-escalation between Israel and Iran, emphasizing that everything must be done to prevent the Iranian regime from acquiring nuclear weapons. He then recounted a recent meeting he attended alongside the leader of the opposition, where they spoke with survivors and relatives affected by the grooming gang scandal. Among them, Fiona, Teresa, Lucia and Marin shared harrowing testimonies of how various authorities deliberately covered up the systematic sexual abuse of girls, and some boys, by gangs made up predominantly of men of Pakistani heritage. The institutions, it was claimed, prioritize so-called community relations over the protection of vulnerable children, something he described as utterly disgraceful. According to their testimonies, survivors will only have confidence in an inquiry if several conditions are met. It must be entirely independent, possess full legal powers, cover all affected towns, including Bradford, ensure the prosecution of those who enabled the cover-up, guarantee the deportation of foreign perpetrators, actively involve the survivors themselves, and be launched before the summer recess. The MP demanded that the Deputy Prime Minister commit to delivering these assurances. In response, Rayner thanked him for his respectful tone and emphasized the importance of placing victims at the center of the discussion. She acknowledged the need to thoroughly review what has happened over the past decades in light of the many reports already published and translate those findings into concrete action. She agreed that public confidence in the inquiry is essential and noted that the Shadow Secretary had already commented on Baroness Case's report earlier this week. Rayner confirmed that the inquiry would be independent, have legal authority, and implement the recommendations set out in the so-called J report, which the MP was already familiar with from his former ministerial role. She affirmed her party's commitment to act swiftly and called on the opposition to adopt the same tone, so that Parliament can offer a united response to this serious issue. The Shadow Home Secretary insisted that racial sensitivities must never again be used as an excuse to conceal such heinous abuse. He again cited Baroness Casey, who warned that downplaying the ethnic component was tantamount to abandoning the victims. Off the back of this, he criticized the Prime Minister's past remarks, in which, according to him, campaigners who had demanded the very same inquiry were wrongly accused of aligning with the far right. He argued that standing up for rape victims should never be grounds for political stigmatization and demanded a public apology. Rayner defended the Prime Minister's record, stating that he was among the first to address these issues, launching prosecutions against grooming gangs and raising the issue of ethnicity as early as 2012. She added that the data collected by previous governments was flawed and incomplete, something also highlighted by the Casey report. The opposition MP pressed on, declaring that branding defenders of abuse victims as far-right was absolutely unacceptable. He praised the former MP for Richmond for setting up a special task force on grooming gangs, which led to over 500 arrests in its first year. He also noted that the Casey report confirmed that a significant number of offenders were foreign nationals or asylum seekers, many of whom had entered the country illegally. Contrary to recent statements made by the Shadow Secretary, he added, the majority of illegal migrants crossing the Channel are young men. Rayner responded by acknowledging the gravity of the situation and stressed that stronger action was needed. She informed the House that, in coordination with international partners, several major arrests had been made targeting human smuggling gangs. She highlighted the recent conviction of a ringleader responsible for trafficking nearly 4,000 migrants, who was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Rayner also pointed to agreements signed with countries such as Germany, Italy, Serbia, and others across the Balkans as part of efforts to step up enforcement. She took the opportunity to criticize the MP directly, accusing him of being part of a Home Office that had overseen a surge in immigration. She further claimed that £700 million in public funds were wasted in an attempt to convince just 4 volunteers to relocate to Rwanda. She concluded by saying she would not take lectures from someone who failed to act when they were in office. The MP hit back, stating that if anyone has lost control of the UK's borders, it is her government. He reminded the House that since the current Home Secretary scrapped the Rwanda plan before it was even implemented, illegal channel crossings have risen by over 30%. He declared that 2025 is already the worst year on record for illegal entries via the channel. He added that the Prime Minister is now being forced to hold emergency talks with President Macron, an admission that the situation is spiraling out of control. He said the government's much-vaunted plan to crush the gangs lies in ruins and called for the immediate implementation of a robust deportation scheme under which every illegal migrant arriving in the UK is removed without delay. Rayner responded firmly, calling it absurd to suggest that the rise in crossings since July 2024 was caused by the scrapping of the Rwanda plan, especially given that in the same period in 2022, when the policy was still in place, arrivals were even higher. She asserted that the previous government had clearly lost control of the borders and that her administration was now working to regain it. Finally, the MP expressed disbelief at Rayner's claim that the situation was under control when all available data indicates the opposite. He stressed that the Rwanda scheme never actually took effect. As a result of the ongoing crisis, he said, the government is now housing increasing numbers of illegal migrants, many of them channel coursers, in hotels and properties designated for asylum seekers. The Deputy Prime Minister defended the current administration by pointing out that, under the previous government, immigration quadrupled and a backlog was created that saw over 400 hotels filled with asylum seekers, a figure she claims has now been reduced. She added that the current government is actively building the homes that Conservatives failed to deliver over 14 years. From the opposition benches, it was argued that illegal crossings are continuing to rise and that more people are being housed in hotels now than during the previous government. It was further alleged that illegal migrants are being given housing priority over British citizens. One case highlighted involved a convicted foreign paedophile who avoided deportation based on a human rights ruling, prompting renewed calls for the Human Rights Act to be scrapped in immigration cases. The MP concluded by accusing the government of siding with foreign criminals over the British public, while the Deputy Prime Minister responded that they have already deported more offenders than the previous administration and refused to accept lectures from those who failed to act when they had the chance. In other news, Meghan Markle has confirmed that she will not be moving forward with a second season of her podcast Confessions of a Female Founder, as she shifts her full attention to the development of her new lifestyle brand. Despite the podcast's success, the Duchess of Sussex explained that she is now fully focused on the early stages of her business venture. The announcement was made on the 17th of June during her appearance on Aspire, where she spoke about her decision and praised her collaboration with Lemonade Media, describing it as a positive and enriching experience. During the conversation, the Duchess confirmed that the series, which premiered on the 8th of April, is currently on pause. When asked why she had chosen to pause the project despite its popularity, Meghan explained that prioritizing her business was essential at this pivotal stage of growth. In the interview, Meghan highlighted that she is deeply involved in the foundational phase of her new enterprise and expressed her excitement about sharing the challenges that come with building something from the ground up. While she expressed gratitude for the interest in a second season, she made it clear that her current focus is firmly on the business she is creating. What did you think about today's discussion? Let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. See you in the next video.